Raids, protest, politics. No end to Didi versus ED. ED fires explosive charges. ED says Mamata hindered probe. TMC alleges constitutional breach. Charges, counter charges. Who crossed the line?
All right, the Enforcement Directorate now has approached the top court of the country, seeking a CBI probe against Mamata in raids on I-PAC in an alleged money laundering case. Officials claim that they were restrained, they were threatened by the Bengal authorities. TMC has also filed a caveat in the top court alleging what the TMC calls a constitutional breach.
Raids, resistance, and a court battle. The Enforcement Directorate has moved the Supreme Court, accusing West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee of directly obstructing a central probe during a raid linked to her party's poll strategist, I-PAC. In explosive allegations before the top court, the ED claims the Chief Minister and the state's top police officer barged into the raid site, interrupted the search and derailed the investigation. The ED alleges that TMC attempted to hijack High Court proceedings and organized a ruckus using TMC WhatsApp groups. Investigators further claim the Chief Minister forcibly took away ED seized laptops, mobile phones and documents. The agency also alleges its officers were restrained, threatened and slapped with multiple FIRs to intimidate them. The ED says this was not spontaneous outrage, but an organized effort to obstruct a money laundering probe. But the Trinamool Congress has hit back, filing a caveat in the Supreme Court. TMC alleges violations of Article 19 and 21, citing breach of privacy and free and fair elections. The party claims malified use of PMLA powers, accuses the ED of interfering in the 2026 West Bengal Assembly polls, and argues there is no nexus between the seized data and money laundering. TMC also alleges seizures were carried out without notice or legal justification. As the battle shifts to the Supreme Court, the political war explodes.
ED और CBI ये मोदी जी ने गठित की क्या? जब ममता जी भी शासन में रही होंगी तब भी ED रही होगी ना. ED और CBI कोई इनपुट मिलता है तब कार्रवाई करते हैं. संवैधानिक पदों पे बैठे व्यक्ति अगर जो हमारी जांच एजेंसियां हैं उस पे अनर्गल आरोप लगाएंगे तो ये देश हित में भी नहीं है, लोकतंत्र के हित में भी नहीं है.
ED CBI এর সাথে বা এরা যে ভাষায় বোঝে আমি বলবো মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় সঠিক ভাষায় জবাব দিয়েছে. যেমন এখানে এত নেতা আপনারা দেখেছেন যারা গেছে সবার রাস্তা ক্লিয়ার. ডবল ইঞ্জিন সরকার মানে এখানেও চুরি করবে আর দিল্লিতেও চুরি করবে.
With the ED and the Bengal government now locked in legal battles, the Supreme Court becomes the next arena. What began as a raid has turned into a constitutional and political showdown. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the battle now going to be fought in the top court of the country. What political implications will this particular battle have on the politics of West Bengal, poised to go to election in the next 2 years, in the next 2 months, I beg your pardon. All our panelists this evening will get a 2-minute time to put their point forward. Joining me, Shikha Mukherjee, political commentator, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, Manojit Mondal, political analyst. I'd like to begin with Shikha Mukherjee. Shikha Mukherjee, the fact is, Mamata Banerjee has made this or is trying very hard to leverage it into political opportunity. And one can only go back to the song that has been released for the campaign, which is, of course, surrounded, with the rhetoric of the central agencies and the Prime Minister and the Home Minister trying to intervene in the state of affairs of Bengal. How do you see this pan out?
I think it's very interesting that first and foremost there is this uncanny coincidence that in a lot of states we have seen this, and therefore the coincidence doesn't really happen. This is something which has become, at least in the public perception, certainly in the opposition's political perception, the pattern of doing things in the last 10, 15 years, which is that you have an ED raid and then there's an election. Having said that, Mamata is, of course, going hammer and tongs for this perception. She is working on the basis that this perception is not a perception, but it is exactly how things work. In fact, this is the reality. This is a fact for her. So she's gone hammer and tongs at it. And look at the reaction, and it's political. She has taken it to a completely political level. The ED has been shunted out of the picture. The BJP has been brought in, and the ED can file its own cases in the Supreme Court that doesn't really register politically. And therefore, what is going to happen? The fight is on the streets. Mamata hit the streets. Mamata made a point, and the fight is, according to her, between the BJP and the Trinamool over who shall be the representative regime in Bengal. And this is a fight that's been going on for the last 10 years. So I think it's for Mamata at least, it's a political thing. How the BJP handles it is to be seen, because the BJP is now required to go in for some kind of damage limitation.
All right, okay. I want to bring in Manojit Mondal. Manojit Mondal, the sheer fact, what happened once again, and we hark back into the events of last week, was unprecedented. You have somebody, and many would suggest that it's a little ironic that, it's the constitution that the TMC is invoking in its plea to the top court of the country, but the sheer fact that Mamata Banerjee, who herself holds a constitutional post, came in the way of a central agency dispensing its duty. That, in effect, is huge, Manojit Mondal.
I think what Mamata did was definitely within the purview of law. When a central agency is misusing law, and this is quite apparent from what they have been doing for the last 10 years, as an elected chief minister, though she did not go as a chief minister, she went as the chairperson of the political party. So when the ED, almost functioning as the election department of BJP, I think what Mamata did was absolutely right. She had got every right to resist those thieves who came with the intent of stealing. If you look at the FIR that has been filed against the ED, there's a charge of theft is very much clear. It was no way investigation. It was just before the eve of election. They wanted to create this kind of havoc among the young students, among the young scholars who have been working, who are still working in that particular company, which is also working as a kind of long arm of the party because it is contracted with All India Trinamool Congress. I think this move was absolutely, justified. Because we have seen how ED has functioned. You've seen also the kind of conviction rate that ED had. If you look at the conviction of ED in the last 10 years, it's abysmal, not even 0.5%. Whereas if you look at the way the opposition leaders are targeted, almost 98% of the cases are against the opposition leader. That's data for you. And even the 2% cases which are not against the opposition leaders, whereby the people who have been in different political party, they have shifted to BJP. So there is no raid against Hindu Adhikari, no raid against Hemanta Biswa Sharma, no raid against Ajit Pawar, where you have
Okay, your
cases
time is
within.
up, sir. By the virtue of the fact, Mamata Banerjee could have leveraged that politically after the raid had taken place and the central agency was allowed to do its job. You could have used the same argument later. But what an individual who holds a constitutional post has done is created something which was a very dangerous precedent. That is a charge, and that charge is valid. Manojit Mondal, I'll come back to you. I want to bring in Sanju Verma into this conversation. Sanju Verma, I'll take you back, because what's happened right now on the streets of Kolkata is that this issue is emotive. It's become political for the TMC, and one only needs to look at the latest or the first campaign song of the TMC, where it's less about central agencies, it's about control of Prime Minister Modi, of Amit Shah and the BJP. She's again pitched that battle which she had pitched in 2021. If you remember in 2021, Sanju Verma, you and I used to debate on television channels. If you remember, she had that plaster, she hurt her foot, she leveraged it politically. This is something she looks to do and milk where politics is concerned. Question is, does the BJP have an answer to it?
Preeti, first and foremost, let's get one thing very clear. The ED is not standing on trial. Let's be very clear that Mamata Banerjee has not covered herself in glory. I can't think of another instance in recent times where a chief minister goes to an investigation site, tries to decamp with the electronic and physical evidence, and then has the audacity to play victim. And the entire Dhamari ecosystem and the TMC ecosystem, BJP cared about leaving. BJP spent vote share in the election of 2021, in Lok Sabha 2024. In Bengal, we had a vote share of 39% plus. So I don't think BJP needs to explain about its political heft. And let me remind Mamata Banerjee, from barely 3 elections, our tally went up 77.
I'm going to freeze your time, Sanju Verma. I'm going to give you that 1 minute later. And the reason I'm doing so is there's something terribly wrong with your audio. We can barely hear you. Can we do an audio check with Sanju Verma and come back to her? I want to bring in Shikha Mukherjee back into this conversation. Shikha Mukherjee, nobody can take away the fact. All legal experts would argue that, maybe she acted in an emotional moment, and it's Mamata Banerjee, she's known to be mercurial, and she acted as a party chief and less as a chief minister. But the fact is she is a chief minister, and that is a constitutional post. She did come in the way of a central agency trying to dispense its duty. This is setting a very dangerous precedent in the times that we live in, where in any case, there is massive trust deficit. Do you think the people of West Bengal might look at it differently, or do you think it's once again a pitched battle with the center?
See, it's a pitched battle with the center at every level. Because if you look at the ED is not an agency which has a great deal of credibility. I have written this, so I can say it. It doesn't have credibility. The Supreme Court has made various observations about how the ED functions. And it does. And as a nation, we should be very conscious that the ED is not the most respected of institutions, not an institution that doesn't indulge in overreach, doesn't do things. Therefore, it's Mamata Banerjee's image versus her politics versus the ED's image. Now, in the eyes of the law, obviously, what she has done is probably overreaction. She has probably violated some parts of the law. But let's face it, will a Supreme Court ask Mamata Banerjee in election season to come and give her a deposition in court as to why she did it? Is this not creating politically more opportunities for Mamata to take on the BJP as the evil monster of the center? A theme which is said repeatedly, and a theme that resonates in Bengal, because the center is something that the population of Bengal, the voters in Bengal, the people of Bengal don't really trust very much. So you have, it's a very, very interesting situation. The more the ED says, the more Mamata is going to leverage it. The more she's going to make noise about it. Therefore, how this damage is to be limited? The courts can litigate, it will go on. What else is going to happen? The court is not going to intervene in election process, nor is it going to sort of put a leash on her on the kind of campaign she runs. Therefore, politically,
Ma'am, your time is up. I want to bring in Manojit Mondal, and we're going to try and connect back to Sanju Verma. But Manojit Mondal, keep away the politics from what is the legal framework of this country. The Enforcement Directorate is very clear. The charges are very grave. And the charges, to remind our viewers, is funneling of scam loot, which is coal scam loot as per the Enforcement Directorate, funneling of those funds through I-PAC, which is a consulting agency, political agency, consulting with the TMC, funneling it through that consultancy into the elections of Goa, which were fought by the TMC last time. The charges are grave. One might say, or TMC might seem to suggest that this is that election happened 4 or 5 years ago. But having said that, the sheer fact that till date you have an Abhishek Banerjee who continues to receive notices, which he thumbs his nose on, connected to the coal scam by the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI. The Enforcement Directorate is very clear that they're trying to close a loop in which you're trying to, or the TMC is trying to politicize the issue.
When was the case registered? It's 27 November 2020. It's nearly over 5.5 years ago. And at that point of time, you had the principal accused by the name of Anup Maji in your custody for maybe for 3 years. So you didn't wake up before January 2026. You had to wake up only just 2 months before the election. And how many times Mr. Abhishek Banerjee was summoned? At least a dozen times. What happened? Nothing. Absolutely zero, apart from the kind of malicious campaign that you had to run against Mr. Abhishek Banerjee and even his family. His family members were even caught. I mean, remember during that COVID time when Abhishek Banerjee's youngest children went to Delhi just to attend the ED summons? I mean, this is nothing but a political vendetta on the part of the central government. I mean, had the ED been functioning really as a neutral agency, the probe would have gone. I mean, and what kind of logic is this, Preeti? That you are saying virtually that there is a scam and all the incriminating documents are stored in that particular public office? Is this the logic that it is giving? I mean, come on. I mean, rather, this is an office which is known to everyone that is functions for the TMC. IT cell is run from this particular building. TMC's SIR campaign is happening from this particular building. So you actually came to steal documents before the election, and probably that's the simple reason that the charge of that is there. And what happened to other cases? I want to know. So a very interesting case is Mr. Rajiv Kumar. You talk about the same kind of analogy, you bring same kind of analogy. What happened to Rajiv Kumar? Except the kind of malicious campaign that you ran against Mr. Rajiv Kumar, nothing has happened. Rather, you have maligned one of the brightest police officers in this country. 5, 6, 7 years have passed.
All right, Manojit Mondal, your time is up. You know, once again, I'll say the same thing, Manojit Mondal. All of this can be used as arguments. Your protest on the streets is bona fide and is constitutionally sound. But to barge in a building by the Chief Minister of a state just doesn't cut it when a central agency is carrying out a probe. I want to bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, you have 1 more minute, then your 2 minutes. You get 3 minutes to put your point forward. Does the BJP have the answer to the politics that is going to now being played at the back of it? Nobody does it better, where there's Mamata Banerjee to turn an adversary into an advantage and milk it politically.
You know, Preeti, I could barely speak. I think in all fairness, you should give me 4 minutes. You know, the moment I started, there was some audio glitch. I think it's 4 minutes. Please be fair. And I'm sure you will. So my 4 minutes start now. First and foremost, let me get one thing very clear for your audience. Mamata Banerjee has disdain and contempt for every democratic institution in this country. Through your audience, I demand that under section 228, 231, 235, 238 and 241 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Mamata Banerjee should be arrested for stealing electronic and physical evidence. Mamata Banerjee should be tried for obstructing public officials from doing their duty, and Mamata Banerjee should be arrested for trying to defame
a statutory body like the Enforcement Directorate, and she has done it repeatedly. Point number two. You know, people who say, oh, the BJP is scared of Mamata Banerjee. The BJP had 3 seats in 2016. We won 77 seats from Bengal in 2021. That's a 2,467% rise. We had 41% vote share in Lok Sabha 2019 from Bengal. We had a 38% vote share in 2021 assembly elections in Bengal. And even in Lok Sabha 2024, we had a 39.08% vote share from West Bengal. So the BJP is not scared of anybody. And for anybody who says that the ED has a very poor conviction rate, the ED has a conviction rate of 94.7%. And I want to tell Shikha Mukherjee, if you want to come on a debate, please say you are a TMC supporter. Don't sit here as a political commentator. You can't seem to find anything wrong with the Trinamool Congress or with the Mamata Banerjee style of sarak chap politics. No, Preeti, I have been listening to a lot of gibberish from TMC netas. And let me tell through your show, the likes of Mahua Moitra. The fact of the matter is, Mahua Moitra is the same lady who actually sold her moral fabric for a bottle of Chanel perfume and a pair of Ferragamo heels by selling her parliamentary login and password to a businessman seated in Dubai. And Mahua Moitra then has the audacity to lecture BJP and the Enforcement Directorate on integrity and ethics. Kahan se aate hain ye log? The other question, why is BJP supporting the ED? Why should we not? The Enforcement Directorate comes under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. If you attack the Enforcement Directorate, you attack the Modi government. As the national spokesperson of BJP, I have every right to come on national television and defend the institutions of the country which are being maligned by so-called political commentators and so-called political analysts who do not even have the courage to say that they are actually closet TMC empathizers. Now let me come to the moot point of the debate. The moot point of the debate, Preeti, is this. Eastern Coal
Ma'am, your time
Fields
is up.
Limited-
Your time is up. I think we gave you 4. I'll check with my... Okay, 3 minutes are over. I'll give you one more. You have 10 seconds. Shikha Mukherjee, do you want to come in? Because there are charges that have been laid at you. I'll come back to you, madam, for your 1 minute in the end. Shikha Mukherjee, you have 10 seconds to answer.
I'm entertained by them for the simple reason that I know exactly where my sympathies lie politically. I'm not, and that is a private matter, which I'm not going to discuss in public.
No, fair point. Okay, entertained by them. All right, one last minute. Sanju Verma, as promised, you have, everyone gets equal time. You have 1 more minute, and then we close the show.
You are not being fair. I said 4 minutes. You gave me.
Ma'am, you spoke uninterrupted. Now you're losing your time. You spoke uninterrupted for 3 minutes. I'm giving you 1 more. Go back and look at your timer. You're wasting time. Make your point.
Please start my timer now, not at 46 seconds. I'm sorry.
Madam, you are using this time to argue with me. Please use it. I have another debate. Please use it.
So let me just say this. If Shikha Mukherjee is entertained by me, I'm amused by her histrionics and theatrics. And I will say this. Money stolen from Eastern coal fields was sold to factories of Deepak Agarwal of Shakhambari Ispat. The money of Shakhambari Ispat was funneled via Hawala channels by I-PAC. I-PAC is the long and extended arm of Trinamool Congress. The president of Trinamool Congress is a lady called Mamata Banerjee. And if still Shikha Mukherjee, Mahua Moitra, Derek O'Brien cannot see that there is Hawala funding, money laundering happening, there is something seriously wrong with this entire TMC Darbari
Okay, their time is up. I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate all 3 of you for joining us. Thank you so much. Things are only going to get hotter in days to come. Let's just hope that it doesn't get as Srebik as it has. All right, the latest news break coming in. Actor Vijay likely to be grilled again by the CBI in the Karur Stampede case. The CBI may call Vijay post-Pongal for questioning. Vijay was grilled by CBI today for over 7 hours, and TVK not responsible for Stampede is something that Vijay had told the CBI. Sources also tell us Vijay said he left the venue to avoid any further chaos. Having said that, this is how the day panned out.
A political rally spirals into chaos, leading to a deadly crowd crush. The Karur Stampede on September 27th, which took 41 lives, now casts a long shadow over one of Tamil Nadu's biggest political debutantes. Acting on the Supreme Court's directions, the CBI has taken over the investigation and summoned TVK Chief Vijay. The actor-turned-politician landed in Delhi on Monday morning on a chartered flight from Chennai, accompanied by close aide Adhav Arjuna. Dressed in a black t-shirt, the actor-politician walked straight into the CBI headquarters, avoiding the media glare and offering no comment.
The car has gone right in. You see the Range Rover entering the CBI headquarters there amid chants by, in fact, TVK supporters of Talapati. Vijay's car has just entered inside the CBI headquarters. They've allowed his car inside, keeping in mind the high security situation currently that's playing out.
At 11:15 p.m., the CBI began questioning Vijay as a witness. However, he had already given himself a clean chit.
இந்த பழி வாங்கணும் அப்படின்ற எண்ணம் ஏதாவது இருக்குச்சுன்னா என்ன வேணாலும் பண்ணுங்க, அவங்க மேலே கை வைக்காதீங்க. நான் ஒன்று வீட்டில் இருப்பேன், இல்லை நான் ஆஃபீஸில் இருப்பேன். என்ன வேணாலும் செய்யுங்க.
The agency is examining what it calls serious lapses at the rally that preceded the stampede. Investigators are focusing on venue capacity violations, crowd control failures, traffic mismanagement, and the absence of an adequate medical response. Failures that may have turned a political rally into a fatal disaster. India Today has exclusively accessed the CBI's line of questioning. Why did Vijay continue his speech despite reports of people fainting? Why was no immediate action taken beyond distributing water bottles? Why did he arrive late at the venue? And was that delay intended to draw larger crowds and project political strength? Outside the CBI headquarters, Vijay's supporters gathered, turning the probe into a display of political strength.
Even today I had, an assignment need to be submitted around 12, but, I had made an excuse and just came here to support our Talabadi only.
The DMK has now entered the fray, accusing the CBI of targeting the actor-politician under pressure.
BJP is called washing machine. They will misuse the powers of CBI, ED, IT, every department. Now they have started with the CBFC also. So they are known for it. And they will put pressure, and I don't know how Vijay is going to face it.
From the packed stage to a deadly stampede. From Karur to Delhi. From applause to interrogation. As the CBI tightens its probe, the tragedy that claimed 41 lives now confronts questions of power, politics and accountability. With Akshita Nangopal, Shivani Sharma, Shiraj Chatterjee, Pramod Madhav, Anaga and Apurva, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so the question that we take to our panelists is number one, what the CBI says, and also where the film of actor Vijay is concerned. The censor board says due procedure. Having said that, the DMK strangely has also jumped in, suggesting that all of this is Vijay being used as a political pawn. What would be the political ramifications of this? Let's cut across to our panelists. Sumansi Raman, political analyst; Shikha Iyer, senior journalist; R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist. Sumansi Raman, what's your take?
Look, politically, what happened today will not have much of an impact, Preeti, because, he's just been called because he has to be called. I mean, this was a rally which was organized by him. He was a star witness. Basically, he was standing on top of the van and speaking when the stampede actually happened. So, and what's more, he put out a video alleging a conspiracy. So, there's plenty to ask. If Vijay had not been called by the CBI, the DMK itself would have made it a big issue and said that, there's some cover-up going on. They have not even called the man for questioning. So he had to be called. And I honestly don't believe that there will be multiple rounds of questioning. There may be one more day where they call him maybe to counter-check a few facts which they may have cross-checked with other people. So they may call him back maybe in a few days' time for one more day. But beyond that, I don't expect this to be a big political issue. The stalling of the movie, that's a much bigger issue. I've never seen in recent times the CBFC been so proactive in jumping from courtroom to courtroom, getting getting an urgent hearing on the matter in the High Court, filing a caveat in the Supreme Court, running almost as if they're desperate that this film should not be released. So that, to me, if it plays out for a few more days or weeks, that could create some level of sympathy for Vijay. But the CBI investigation, he's a witness. I mean, he's not an accused by any stretch of imagination.
Mhm.
So I don't expect that to have any significant political impact. And nor do I see it as a pressure tactic to get him into an alliance and get him to join the NDA.
Shekhar Iyer, do you concur?
I do, because I do not think this whole CBI business, it is something that his party had sought. He had sought a CBI inquiry because he had, soon after the tragedy, his party, as well as he had also in his first of the video statements, made it very clear that there is some kind of vendetta, action of vendetta by the DMK government in Tamil Nadu. That is why his party wanted a CBI inquiry, because they felt that an inquiry by a central agency would be more impartial than an inquiry by the state government. Because, initially, Preeti, when the tragedy happened, the Stalin was the first person to issue a statement saying that no one should be blamed and no one should be held, no one should be declared guilty even before a proper inquiry. But soon thereafter, what did we see was DMK ministers jumping into the fray and blaming Vijay. One after another, ministers were issuing statement. That is the time when the matter reached Madras High Court, and the TVK, TVK's lower functionaries were called by the police. So that's the time when Vijay felt that his party is being squeezed by the DMK government, even though Stalin kept saying that there is no politics in this. This should not happen to any political leader. Things like that. So this, what is happening today, as Sumant P. Raman said, as far as CBI inquiry is concerned, it is something that Vijay sought, and it is happening because Supreme Court ordered it. And Supreme Court also constituted a SIT to supervise the CBI inquiry. So I don't think there is any problem with this, but definitely the questions that have been raised about the way the gathering was organized, the delay that took place in Vijay's motorcade reaching that spot, and thirdly, and what did the local administration do? Why did that particular spot was chosen when it was known it's a very
Right.
narrow public space? Things like that, Preeti.
All right, okay, so much ado about nothing, and one really needs to get to the bottom of how were 41 lives taken and what really went behind that. R.K. Upadhyay, what's your take?
Preeti, I think one need not go into details about what happened in Karur because it's all well documented. And Vijay, of course, has a lot to answer for. So that's the reason why he's before the CBI, and I don't think anyone can fault the fact that the CBI has called him. But and knowing the history of CBI and also the CPFC, where a film of his is stalled, I mean, one wonders whether how BJP is playing this game, because we all know that ruling party in Delhi uses these organizations for its own advantage. Are they trying to intimidate him, by indulging in these things, or do they want him to join their camp, the NDA? I mean, it is obviously to their advantage, but by adopting these tactics, are they making him really go out of control? Is he going to be part of their alliance, or is he going to just become a hero in Tamil Nadu? I think what they're doing, might even help him to become a martyr in Tamil Nadu, and he may just want to not join the India at all. So it could boomerang on BJP.
So, Mansi Raman, because at one end you have the film, which is creating a fair amount of sympathy and empathy on ground. Then you have him being questioned. The optics matter a lot, especially when you're closing into a high-octane election.
It does, but I think right now in Tamil Nadu, Preeti, there is a feeling that Vijay does not have the steam to do it all on his own. He's hardly been seen in public. I mean, he just makes these periodic appearances. He hasn't met the media once. Can you believe it? He's not met the media once, not for an interview, not for a press conference, nothing. So there are too many questions which have been raised for which we don't have adequate answers. And gradually, the feeling is this whole bit about chief minister candidate in for 2026, that's not happening. Importantly, he made an open announcement saying that he's open to allying with any party which accepts him as a
Right.
chief ministerial candidate. That was 1 year ago. Not a single party has come on board. Not
Fair point.
one. Big, small, nobody. So I think that he needs to sort of revisit the strategy. Look, Preeti, everybody knows this. An alliance with the NDA, they will sweep the election in 2026. If he ties up with the AIADMK, he can contest and put up candidates against the BJP. The BJP is not totally averse to that, is what I hear. So that could be a Chirag Paswan kind of a thing. Should it happen, it is a sweep. Mark
All
my
right. Should
words
it?
that, yeah, but whether it would happen or would Vijay believe this is a story that he is becoming the chief minister and he is going to win 200 seats, now that really is a call that he has to take. But
Right.
my gut feel is it's slowly moving towards an alliance and being part of the NDA.
Shikha, do you agree with that? Which side do you think the scales will tilt?
No, I don't think Vijay will consider, entering into an alliance with AADMK so long as BJP is around, number one. Number two, a section of the Congress feels the very fact this release of his film has been delayed is the way of BJP actually helping him. That the BJP's plan, they know very well, after having declared BJP as his ideological enemy and DMK as his political rival, he cannot in any case join hands with ADMK if the BJP is part of that and it is called the ND alliance. That's very clear. And
He can
second
contest
part,
against BJP.
no,
Sorry.
the other part is, you see, there is a section of the Congress strongly feels this whole game about Jananayak being delayed is part of a BJP plot to see that he gets enough oxygen to, and this controversy itself should boost him and it should create problems for the DMK. Because the
Right.
whole idea is why should they do something knowing very well
Okay.
it will be seen as being against him. So there are a lot of conspiracy stories also going
Lots of
around.
conspiracy theories. Well, it's time that, it's all coming down in the next couple of months. Mr. Upadhyay.
Preeti, I think, AIDMK doesn't want him to join the NDA. It's very clear because they want to rule the Tamil Nadu. And if BJP can keep him out, they'll be very happy. And I think that is what it is driving towards because if this kind of, activities are against him, I'm sure he will not want to join the, alliance. So which will be to the advantage of AIDMK.
All right. Okay. I appreciate all three of you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out. With that, we're going to keep an eye on the developments there. But right now, with all the optics that you see taking place in the national capital with the CBI questioning, don't read too much politics into that. But there will be politics. That's for later.